Welcome everybody, I'm Gold Leader, I'm joined by Patronus, and we're here for another Harry Potter livestream.
We're going to be covering the Heir of Slytherin fan-made expansion made by the Harry Potter TCG Revival group. We're super excited that this has been totally launched, and we want to take a look at all the cards and talk about them with you guys.
Yeah, we last week we did just a review of some of the cards that were spoiled, and since we've gotten to this week, everything has been spoiled, along with a new tool, and we can go to that now, the Accio card database.
Love the name of it, by the way.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Well done with theme.
Well done.
So
Parcel
the
Tongue.
Revival group has been working hard on this, and it was a really pleasant surprise. I didn't know it was coming, but it's a Harry Potter TCG card game database. So if you play a card game in the the new age in 2020,
Yeah.
it's like every game has a card game database or an online deck builder.
You need something, yeah. Well,
And-
especially with all these fan-made expansions where it's all digital.
Yeah.
You kind of need something to be able to build your decks electronically.
To host it.
Yeah.
So this one is for Harry Potter TCG. It's fantastic. The graphics are great, and I'm sure they're going to add, I know that they're adding more functionality to it. But for the purposes of this video, it's perfect for what we need to do, which is go through all these spoiled cards.
Mm-hmm.
So
Which you guys can see up here in the address bar. It's accio.cards.
Yep.
Perfect. Love it. Fantastic. I will always remember it.
And we already have a link set up, another tab set up with all the cards filtered out just for Heir of Slytherin.
Yep.
So we're
Which
going
is
to go to
right
that.
here. Okay.
Couple nice things. This is all the cards.
For the
And
Heir of Slytherin.
For Heir of Slytherin, this is what we want to cover.
Mm-hmm.
We have talked about, I think, maybe 6 or 7 cards total. Not many.
Yeah, about that.
I know many of you have had a chance to already see all of the cards, but this whole stream is about interacting with you, the fans, and kind of just like looking over them. I can say Patronus and I, at least Patronus, I've looked at all the cards.
Yeah,
She
I
has
haven't
not.
looked at anything except for what we've spoiled. I kind of wanted it to be a little bit of a surprise because I'm more of the Harry Potter fan in the family, so I wanted you guys to experience my nerdiness firsthand.
So we're going to briefly just cover all the cards. The other thing I want to talk about is we are working on a new, some more content for you that sometimes it'll be a live stream, sometimes it's just going to be a video. But what we're doing is we're doing a bunch of more of the competitive deck series. We're trying to just learn like the metagame.
From Wizards, like the old metagame.
The classic, we're going to try and learn the classic metagame for this game. So all the Wizards of the Coast sets that have been released, we are not up to speed with the rest of the community. We found this game late.
Yeah.
Literally last year. So I looked at all these cards and tried to start building my own deck, but the cards for me are very out of context because I can see a card and be like, oh, that's good, but if I don't know what the meta is, it's really hard for me to judge the new cards. So we're going to talk about them, and we are going to launch a Gauntlet series, which is essentially going to be Patronus and I playing good decks against each other to discover the meta, and I know myself, I'm going to brew some spicy decks that might challenge the meta because that's just what I do.
Brew, pun intended.
Yeah, that's what I do. So I've always been good at building decks, but I have to have a basis to stand on, and I don't know it yet. So we're going to go through that, and that will mean there's going to be a bunch of Harry Potter match videos, full matches up on Home Base Games YouTube channel. And some of them will probably stream live on Twitch as weekly things. Some of them we might take a Saturday and record 3 matches if we play 3 matches and put them all up. So we appreciate everybody and we look forward to learning that. So if you just want to give us a like, a subscribe, a follow on Twitch or YouTube, you'll get a notification as to when those match videos are going up.
Yeah, particularly YouTube, because some of those ones where we're not going to actually live stream it, and they're just going to go direct to YouTube. If you want to just subscribe and hit the bell to be notified when we drop new things, that way you'll make sure to get all of the new content that we release. And I always organize it by game topic. So if you're going there later, you can always just search Harry Potter TCG, and you'll come up with our playlist of all of our different matches and games and conversations.
Yeah, and another thing too, on our website, homebasegames.com, I'm going to start writing some articles that Patronus will put up there as content as I'm learning this game. My end goal is to kind of caught up with everybody so I can start participating in the community events and start adding the Heir of Slytherin to my collection. So and to
your
my
wheelhouse.
And to, yes, exactly. So I can start being like, all right, what sweet things could I brew up and try to play in these events.
For
so
sure.
I'm excited, and I hope you guys are excited. And so we're gonna start going over these cards now, one by one. You're gonna like this when you hover. Oh, she hasn't seen this. Hover over the card.
Oh, well done, coders. I approve. It'd be nice if there was also like a little pop out of the text says zoom, so that way you could actually read this a little bit.
Shift or Alt or Shift, see if it does
Alt, nothing. Shift, nothing.
Control.
Sometimes. Nothing. I don't know what else I would use.
Mouse, no.
No. Other than maybe if you clicked on it, maybe it'll. That'll just open the card. Okay. So, if you coders are bored, it'd be nice to have like a little zoom out of what the text
is you can control zoom in this site.
That's true. We can do that a little bit.
There you go.
We don't want to go too crazy here. Yep. Okay. Make it a little easier for you guys to read it as well. Maybe I can do one more. Nope. Maybe I could.
Yeah, you can still get away with that, I think.
Yeah, I think that's fine.
Alicia Spinner.
Mm-hmm. She is one of the Quidditch players. I don't remember her position, but she was
in the books only.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure she was in the movies, but you didn't know who she was. She wasn't a named person.
Okay. And what does the card do?
If there is a match in play, whenever one of your cards that needs Quidditch power does damage, it does one more damage.
Okay.
Makes sense. Oh, and she's a chaser. Perfect. They actually have that in her title. So that makes perfect sense. Chasers are the aggressors in Quidditch. So it makes sense that she would do extra damage.
Yeah, for matches. So she could be played in
only when a Quidditch match is going on.
A match-themed Quidditch deck. So there's kind of, from my understanding, and only because Quidditch is something I've been trying to play with, I think there's two types of Quidditch decks that people play around matches. There's the catch-a-snitch type Quidditch deck with like the Harry Seeker one I was kind of playing. And then there's a I'm trying to think what it's called. Someone on the stream get it, but there's a 3-cost card that lets you win the match.
Right.
Well, go to the other tab real quick. Oh, what do you know?
Oh, you want me to go to the deck list?
Go to the other Accio tab.
Oh, to this tab. Oh, okay.
Yeah, and then we can search.
Ignore the. Let's see.
I want to say it's like. Type the word hands. See if that finds it. No hands.
There
Okay,
you go.
so that's the card I was talking about.
Okay.
So there's like a whole deck built around this where you use this card and you stack the top of your deck to have a lesson on top, so that when you play no hands, you automatically win the match.
Sure.
So there's a lot of brooms that stack the top of the deck. There's also a 1-power Quidditch spell that is, I'm not sure what it is, but it's 1 card that lets you look at the top, like 6 cards, and then put it back in any order.
Okay.
So there's a whole deck built around that.
Sure.
And so she could in theory be played as a leader in that, because she is a witch, so she could be your
main character.
Instead of, I think people use one of the professors. Who's the professor?
Madam Hooch, probably.
Yeah.
She's usually the ref, and she's the one that teaches them how to fly.
Correct. That is the leader. So that's interesting.
Yeah, I think she'll be cool. pretty basic, but I think you could definitely build a deck around that. And I always like seeing Quidditch get a little love.
I also just like seeing build around me cards as a deck designer and deck builder.
Yeah, I think it's
build
cool.
around me cards are the ones that are most exciting. So let's check on the next one.
Aragog.
It's a very expensive spider. 8.
Well, he's a very big spider. So
he deals 2 damage and he has 8 health, so he's pretty hard to kill. But very susceptible to things like picking on Neville or things that would bounce into his hand.
Yeah, for sure. His ability to play this card, discard one of your Care of Magical Creatures lessons from play. Whenever another one of your spiders does damage, it does 2 more damage. Wow. So Aragog is going to have his family of spiders with him, and you could do a spider anthem. I'm not really into spiders, so I probably wouldn't do this.
So this sounds like I should build this deck just to torture you.
You just freak me out with all the different spiders that are dealing me damage. We've actually been playing a little bit of the World of Warcraft Vanilla Classic, and we just had this quest where we had to go and kill a bunch of massive spiders, and I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of freaking out because they were all like, I don't like it.
Yeah, Patrona says
against bugs.
She has things against bugs, but especially things against arachnids. Ugh. She does not like spiders.
I don't know what it is, but they freak me out.
So let's look at the next one. We've actually previewed this one.
Yep,
so this is Armando Dippet. Sounds like a build around me card for a control deck. That's what other people have told us. Mm-hmm. What does it say? At the end of your turn, if you played a Gryffindor, Hufflepuff, Ravenclaw, or Slytherin card, you may draw a card and do 2 damage to your opponent.
Or draw a card or do
damage. That's awesome.
Yeah, I think so too.
That is a card that will excite me to build something around.
Mm-hmm. And I love that they actually went back and grabbed he was the headmaster before Dumbledore. So I like that they dug a little bit deeper.
Well, we already know with the rooster that they know that they know they're the Harry Potter lore.
Yeah, that was such a deep cut. We'll talk about it in a second, but when we were previewing these cards, I think it was just the Basilisk. One of our viewers explained to us the super deep cut on that card, and we'll go into it when we get there.
Okay. Ooh, Quidditch.
Cancelled Exams. So it's a 7-cost Quidditch card. It's a spell. Choose an opponent. On their next turn, they gain 1 more action. On your next turn, you gain 2 more actions.
That's interesting. That's interesting because Quidditch can be very combo-y as a color type.
Right.
So maybe giving your opponent 1 action isn't a big deal. But on your next turn, you
have double the amount of actions.
You could have 4 actions, and you might be able to just combo out a win.
Right.
You could go match, catch a stitch, catch a snitch, and just
Yeah, you
deal
could.
in 30.
Mm-hmm. And 7 isn't that hard to reach with
and
Quidditch
1
style
additional
deck, too.
action probably isn't going to win them the game, unless they're also playing a combo deck.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting card.
Yeah, I think it'll
I'll
be
have
cool.
to check it out.
Yeah. All right, scrolling down, we'll go. Ooh, gotta love that.
It's super thematic too. I don't know how good it is, but.
So Changer of Secrets is a potions card. It's obviously a unique location. Cards cannot be played from or leave their owner's discard piles.
So I play a lot of Magic. So if...
Yeah, anything that shuts down a graveyard is usually good because it eliminates a resource opportunity.
And I'm always
from
going
the game.
to... That's always going to be like my de facto go-to when I'm trying to evaluate a card. So the cost seems okay. 5 is a little on the higher end, it seems, in Harry Potter.
But this does seem like a very powerful card.
This reminds me very much of some of the cards in Magic that prevent graveyard manipulation. Graveyard is a resource in many games.
Well, it heals.
In this game,
that's how you heal.
This game, we call it discard pile, but every zone is a resource, right? Your hand's a resource, your discard pile is a resource, cards in play are a resource, and this one shuts down one of those resources.
Right, so, which is a big one because it turns off any healing cards.
Yeah, example like the Quidditch deck we were talking about with the matches. Many of the Quidditch decks run the card Zigzag, and it allows you to get your combo pieces out of your discard pile so you can replay them.
Might as well pull that up real quick. Oh. Maybe it's not. I just missed the hyphen. That's what threw it off. So yeah, put a non-healing Quidditch card from your discard pile into your hand.
So that would prevent you from using.
And there are tons of healing cards that either put them back into your. But honestly, they usually put them back into your deck. Usually, healing cards put them back into your deck because that's your actual.
Right. Go back to the card.
Go back to
this card. Yeah. So Cards cannot be played or leave. So
Right.
yes, cannot heal.
Can't heal.
All right.
So that's I like the thematicness of that.
To me, that's very thematic, and it seems like a very powerful sideboard card. It's not a card I would imagine I would play in my deck, but the Harry Potter Revival rules, I think they have a 10-card sideboard when you're playing in competitive events now. So
I don't really know, but I know that there's a sideboard. I just don't
we can
know
always
the deck
check
building
real
rules.
quick if you open up another tab. Just open up the Revival. Just Harry Potter Revival.
I don't know what the heck this weird stuff is. Thank you, Google, for having weird stuff. If I could
RE.
There we go. I'm like, why am I struggling?
Just click on that.
There we go.
You click on rules.
By the way, this is the Revival group that has put this set together for us. So
they are
go check them out.
They're updating their website for sure. Scroll down. Keep going. Sideboard rules. 10 cards.
All right, perfect.
So that's correct. So we can go back. So yeah, that to me is a sideboard card.
I agree.
I'm very excited. Let's see Dobby. What does he do?
He's a house elf, obviously. Perfect.
So, which means you can't use him as a starting character because he's not a witch or a wizard.
Makes perfect sense. You shouldn't be able to. During each of your opponent's turns, you may prevent up to 4 damage done to you. If any damage is prevented this way, at the end of that turn, that opponent may choose a non-healing card in play other than Dobby. Return that card to its owner's hand.
Interesting.
Right. So you prevent damage on your opponent's turns. If you actually prevent any damage, you can choose a non-healing card that's in play and bounce it to your hand. I guess that's a have to. It's a must. So that's the penalty.
Let me read this. During each opponent's turn, you may prevent up to 4 damage done to you. If any damage is prevented this way at the end of that turn, that opponent chooses a non-healing card in play other than Dobby. So they choose one of yours and bounce it.
So that's the penalty for having him. But what's interesting is it doesn't say prevent up to 4 damage from a single source. It's 4 damage, period, the whole turn. And then if any damage is prevented at the end of the turn, your opponent then bounces something.
Yeah, it's a soak for sure. Mm-hmm. The interesting part is your opponent gets to choose what they bounce, so that could be problematic. And it's any card, so they could like hit your lessons and mess with your mana base. Mm-hmm. That's an interesting thing about Harry Potter TCG. Whoever designed this game and was working at Wizards, they were clearly part of the old school level of Magic, where like things like land destruction, i.e. lesson destruction, had not phased out of Wizards of the Coast yet, because it's it's predominantly in this game quite a bit.
Yeah.
Well, he's fun. I could see good situations with him, but I could see bad ones.
It's probably another sideboard card, honestly, because I don't know that I'd play this unless my opponent was super creature heavy and just really aggressive.
Yeah.
Because that would help you stay in the game a little bit longer.
Yeah. The only situations where I could see this good is if you had some kind of effect where, because what they're most likely going to do is bounce a lesson or bounce a creature or some other permanent. But if you made like your permanent juicy targets, like, you know, say that you have like a black bat in play, they're not going to want to bounce that because then you replay it and hit them for 2 again.
Right.
But so they're going to probably just bounce a lesson. Mm-hmm. So I think it's good. I don't think it's outstanding, but it's thematic and it's Dobby.
Yeah, I mean, he shouldn't be amazing. He's Dobby.
I think it's great.
He should be helpful and situational, but also have a backfire, because Dobby always has a backfire when he tries to help you.
Well, that's exactly what that card is. So let's check the next one.
Dobby is free. There you go. Perfect. An adventure card. Effect: your opponent may only use actions to draw or play cards. Okay, so you can't use actions of what you might have on the board. To solve, your opponent uses your opponent uses actions to play cards 4 times. Okay, so if you just play 4 cards, you've solved it. Mm-hmm. The reward: your opponent may choose one of your characters in play. Their starting character gains the abilities of the chosen character until end of turn. Okay.
Yeah, it's an interesting card. I don't know how good it'll be yet. I'm gonna have to play a little more. We have not explored adventures quite a bit. I do know that there was a adventure like prison deck using the Weasleys.
Okay.
That deck we've never had a chance to play with yet. It's a very powerful deck.
Well, prison is not a style of deck that either of you like. You or I, neither of us really like to play that style of deck.
We've played control decks, but not really prison decks. Yeah. But there is definitely an adventure prison deck in this game. Although, if you use the revival rules, they have restricted some of the cards to make that deck as good. So it'll be interesting how it'll go going forward. But when we do our kind of classic gauntlet, we're going to use the original Harry Potter rules, so we'll revisit playing those decks and see how it works. So.
Yeah.
But for now, we're going to table that as cool card. Don't know how relevant it is.
Yeah.
I'm more excited for the next card.
Of course you are. Drawing the Sword. Play this card only if you have a Gryffindor, Witch, or Wizard in play. Do 6 damage, divided as you choose among any number of creatures. That's awesome.
Question. Scroll up to the Headmaster card real quick.
Tip it.
He is a Headmaster. Okay.
Yeah, he's not a house.
I wasn't sure if he was a house.
Yeah.
All right, never mind. But that card is a sweet control card. Do 6 damage
and dividing it up as you like. I mean, that is
so many creatures have 1 or 2 health. You could just be like wipe. You could for 6. Can wipe your opponent's whole board.
And so many of the deal damage cards, to creatures, they might deal 4, which is nice, but when you have a board, there's a lot of overkill damage, and it just like feels bad that you're wasting this card of 4 damage to kill something that's 1 or 2 health. So this is awesome.
Yeah, I see this card as...
I love the artwork too that they requisitioned for this.
I see this card as very good in a control deck, exceptionally good as a sideboard tech.
Honestly, it's good against anybody that's a little bit slower. You know what I mean? It'd probably be a sideboard card because it's only against creatures.
I think it's a sideboard card. It could be like a one of in a main deck if you are a control deck and you know that you're going to need to keep the board clear. So you might run 1 or 2 of these.
Yeah.
And maybe extras on the side. But I would think of this as a hybrid card.
I agree.
Maybe a little bit in each side. So let's check out the next one.
All right, coming down here, Dueling Club. Another location. At the end of each player's turn, if that player used an action to play a spell, they draw a card.
Love it.
Awesome.
So that's a card that goes in any kind of heavy charm deck.
And obviously it's a charm.
It's a spell heavy deck. So that is really good. That is
super fun.
Yeah, that's a kind of a dream card if you're playing almost like a burn deck where you're trying to just deal as much damage directly to your opponent. It fuels the spells you're playing. You're never paying an action to draw a card.
Yeah.
You're just playing your spells and then refilling. So that's a good card.
I think it's awesome.
I see that as a key card in any kind of... I don't know what they call them in Harry Potter, but I'm going to call them in Magic terms like a slide deck or a burn deck.
Oh, sure.
All right, let's check out the next one.
Another adventure, Dumbledore's Suspension. Play this card only if you have at least 4 lessons in play. Effect: your opponent's starting character loses all its abilities. Makes perfect sense. To solve, your opponent skips a total of 3 actions. Reward: the next spell your opponent plays needs 2 less power to play.
Wow. That seems like a really good card.
Yeah. I think it's fun.
Well, I mean, no one's going to want to solve it, first of all, because 3 actions.
Yeah, and then
that's
you're only...
That's 1.5 turns.
Right.
And the only thing you get is to reduce the cost of the next spell you play by 2.
Yeah.
So...
Well, you might want to, depending on how important your character's ability is to you, you might need to solve it.
Yeah, that's
true. And then you just...
That's what I'm saying.
The equivalent of time walking, from Magic.
That's a very good card.
Yeah.
I mean, you're taking a turn off because it costs 2 actions for you to play an adventure.
Right. But you're making your opponent take a turn.
The 4 lessons in play is definitely relevant. You can't just do this on the first turn.
Right.
it's going to take a few turns. So I still think it's a good card, but it's interesting.
Yeah, I think it's cool.
I love the art on the next card.
Oh, yeah. Immobilis. Choose an opponent during their next turn. Prevent all damage done to you by their creatures. Until the beginning of your next turn, if one of their creatures takes damage, discard that creature.
Sweet.
Awesome. Love it.
Yeah, that's another...
Perfectly thematic to that part of the film and the books.
It's also just another good card for spell decks that are not focused on creatures. I do like what I'm seeing. I mean, we're only, 10 cards in?
Yeah.
And I'm already seeing a nice pattern by the designers of the set to bring balance to other archetypes and not just let creatures run amok.
Yeah, creatures always felt very strong relative to the other color pies.
Repeat source of damage, always good.
All right, Katie Bell, another Quidditch player, apparently also a chaser. Love it. If there is a match in play, whenever a card, yours or an opponent's, does damage to you, it does one less damage.
Oh, so she's the opposite.
She's the opposite.
Interesting.
That's cool. I like it.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how good this is. When I was playing Quidditch, one of the issues was trying to just race my opponent for damage, so this might be good. I would just table this to a card of seems cool, but I would definitely need to play it before I could really judge that card.
All right, moving on down. We've got
another great art.
Yeah, it's super cute. Loyalties Reward. Choose 5 non-healing cards of different card types in your discard pile. Your opponent chooses one of those cards. Put that card in the bottom of your deck and the rest into your hand.
Wow. So that's a 8 cost draw 4, but you don't get to choose one.
Right.
Draw 5, but you're really drawing 4, but your opponent gets to pick one you can't have.
It does note you have to have 5 cards in your discard pile in order to use this card, which if at the time you're playing an 8 cost card, it's probably
that could be a one-off in decks that's really good. I could see this in a
what might be the trick also, it has to be different card types.
Yeah.
Are there 5 different card types? I guess there would be, because you could do like spells and locations and items and lessons. There's probably 5 different spells. But that might also be a trigger of you have to have 5 cards of different types in order to be able to even play this card. So
you have to choose 5 cards. So that I don't know how good that card is. It seems like a lot of work and a lot of restriction and is a high cost. That's something I would have to really play around with to see how that works.
There might be some kind of not combo, but a synergy that would work with other cards that exist where it could at least be playable. It probably would never be tier 1, but it could probably at least be playable.
I feel like most of these cards probably are.
Yeah. Lucius's Cane. So another potion. It's a wand. Love it. Great. Ooh, and it provides charm, so it crosses. Cool. That's great.
That's the first type of card I've seen in the game where one lesson type provides a different lesson type. Other than like a character that provides a lesson or something.
Right, but
But an actual card that costs a certain lesson providing another. I love that.
That's super cool. At the end of each of your turns, do 2 damage to your opponent for each action you have used after the second action. So Lucius is all about doing extra actions in some form.
Right.
Because, as we'll see with his card here, at the end of your turn, if you have used 5 or more actions, you may search your deck, take any card, put it into your hand, and shuffle your deck. And this was a card that we reviewed previously on one of our other spoilers.
So those cards clearly work together. There's some kind of thing that they might be trying out. I love it, though.
Yeah.
I don't know how good these are, but I just like the idea of exploring let's break the game and see how many actions we can get in a turn and see if it's possible to win. I don't know.
I think it's a cool concept. It's obviously very engine heavy, most likely, so it might take a lot of work to get there, and that's okay. I don't mind combo-y style decks that take a while to go off.
Okay.
And where you have to work for it.
Let's check out the next one.
Millicent Strode. She is a Slytherin witch. Once per turn, you may use an action to do 1 damage to an opponent's creature.
Oh, sweet.
Awesome.
So she can be a sideboard card to bring in against creature decks.
Yep.
She could be a starting bitch. That's interesting. I don't know anything about this. She's
I don't know
Slytherin,
how.
obviously.
Yeah, I don't know how relevant 1 damage is. Obviously, there are some creatures that are 1.
Well, what's interesting?
Health.
What's interesting about this card is because she's a Slytherin, she works with Dip It, where you could pay 2 just to play her. You get her effect of dealing damage, plus you get the effect from Dip It.
That's
so
true.
the 2 actions make this card more valuable.
That's true.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah. All right, cool. Like it. Exploring other characters. Moaning Myrtle. Oh, that art is fantastic. That is so good. So she's a ghost, obviously. Ravenclaw, of course. Once per game, you may choose an opponent's card. Until this card leaves play, if the chosen card is discarded from play, do 8 damage to that opponent. Ooh, okay.
Yeah, I don't know how good that is, but it's interesting.
Yeah. I mean, if you have a way of targeting someone else's, like if you have a picking a Neville or something, and you have a way of targeting a particular card and setting it up, yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah,
I do love that art. And actually, it looks like that was the same artist who did the some of the other cards that we looked at. I think she does at least the Heir of Slytherin preview.
Yeah, I don't know.
What's
cool about this card to me is that, again, it's a Ravenclaw card, so it might be something you play in that Dip It deck.
Yeah, you can.
Although, I don't know. So for this card, it costs 2 actions to play the character.
Yeah.
You have a once per game ability where you can deal 8 damage to an opponent. I know there's a card that allows, in the new Heir of Slytherin, we haven't gotten it yet, but there is a preview card that allows you to reuse. I think it's the Mandrake Potion. It allows you to reuse a character's once per game ability, which then would make this card a little better. So it's interesting. I don't know. What about Muddled Memories?
Spell, obviously, costs 7. Look at your opponent's hand. You may choose one of those cards. If you do, on their next turn, they must use their first action to play that card.
Okay. I don't know what to think about that.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously a little control-y.
Yeah, control-y. 7 resources, though, and an action to force your opponent to play an action. It's an okay card.
Yeah.
There might be a better use from it, but I don't understand the game enough yet to realize what it is. So for now, it's just an I don't know card.
This card looks amazing. I love this artwork. That looks incredible. Polyjuice Potion is an 8-cost potions card. It is a spell. Oh, it's a healing spell.
Do we not have a Polyjuice Potion in the game yet?
I don't think so.
Interesting.
It wasn't introduced until this book, so it wouldn't surprise me. To play this card, discard one of your potion lessons from play. Choose one of an opponent's witches or wizards in play. Your starting character gains all abilities of that card until end of turn.
Sounds perfect.
Yeah.
I don't know how good it is, but it's cool.
Yeah, I'm not sure how it's a healing card, other than they're just giving it that healing subtype so you can't go grab it again.
That's exactly probably why it's there.
Yeah. But, I mean, that artwork is fantastic, and I think it could... The ability makes perfect sense for Polyjuice Potion, since that's what you do. You
it seems
turn into another character.
I don't know how good it is, but it is a little pricey.
Yeah.
We'll see.
All right. Professor Gilderoy Lockhart.
I remember this chair.
That guy, yes. At the end of each player's turn, if you have discarded a card from your hand, choose an opponent. They discard a card from their hand. That sounds very similar to the Gilderoy in the Hogwarts battle cards. I mean, it makes perfect sense because his whole thing is he's
full of crap.
Well, yeah, but he performs like memory spells, so he can cause other people to lose their memories, and then he takes credit for their good deeds.
Oh, very cool. That makes the card much cooler.
That's why his ability is that.
That's perfect.
So
well done,
across other games, like that's why he always seems to have that draw discard ability,
cool.
Because
makes sense.
It makes perfect sense for his character.
All right. Basilisk.
Here we go. The Slytherin's Basilisk.
Yeah, we covered this before, so we're not going to really spend much time on it. it's a very good card. You want to read it?
To play this card, discard 2 of your Care of Magical Creatures lessons from play. At the end of each of your turns, you may choose one of an opponent's characters or creatures in play and put a petrification counter on it. Cards with petrification counters lose all abilities and do no damage. When this card leaves play, remove all petrification counters from play. So
super good card.
Yeah.
It's expensive, but I mean, it is 6 power, and it's going to start killing things.
Yeah.
Start petrifying things. Very good.
For sure.
It has a like a lifespan, obviously, but I mean, how many times can you really take 6 before the game's over, anyways?
Yeah,
so that's a very good card.
I mean, especially by the time you're able to play a 9-cost card. I mean.
Also, by the way, if anyone's in chat and they have an opinion on a card, or think we're just off on a card, please, this is meant to be a discussion, not just us talking, so feel free to
drop us a note in chat.
Drop in. All right, check out the next one.
All right, Swallowed Snitch.
That's awesome.
That's great. During your turn, if your hand contains at least 4 cards, you may discard this card from play. If you do, discard your hand to win the current match.
Okay. Interesting.
Okay. It's only a 3-coster, and like if you just really need to, in a pinch, win a match, it's not terrible. Obviously, you have to lose 4 cards from your hand.
Yeah,
minimum.
it's an interesting card. I don't know how good it is. It's definitely a heavy cost losing your hand, and you have to have at least 4 cards. So you have to lose 4 cards and discard this card, which you already invested in action in. So
yeah,
I think it's an okay card. I would have to definitely. That would be a challenge to build something around that.
Yeah.
But that's what makes the game fun. So we go over Riddle.
All right, Tom Riddle. This is another one of the guys we first covered. He was our first spoiler, actually. See, Pablo.
Yeah, he was the first spoiler, period. First spoiler card.
First spoiler in general, Tom Riddle. So once during each of your turns, when you play a lesson, you may choose a lesson type. Until the end of your turn, this card provides 1 power of the chosen type. So we built this on stream with everybody when we first previewed this singular card. And we ended up doing kind of like a 5-color quote-unquote good stuff. I don't know if it was really good stuff, but 5-color for sure, because we just thought it was a really cool way to try and take advantage of his ability here.
I will say it was cool. We were able to play all 5 colors. We never even had a hiccup with trying to play a card. So that was really cool. We went against like the really good like Gen Con 2018 McGonagall deck.
Just to test and see how it would go.
I pretty much got smoked.
Yeah.
But
that could just be because McGonagall was awesome. And we also just built a random deck on stream with a little input. So
but it was fun, and I think this is a incredibly fun build around me card. It also could be a card that you could play. This is where this card could get really cool. You could play this in that like you play the Dip It as your main character.
Yep.
You could put this in the Dip It deck, right? So then it fixes your mana for the game and allows you, because Dip It wants all 4 houses. So Dip It's going to want all 4 colors.
Right.
So you can play.
He works off of all 4 houses.
Right. He's going to work off all 4. So he's going to want all 4 houses represented.
I mean, he doesn't have to. It's just it's not like you can only use one house once.
Well, what I'm saying is because he triggers from every house. I think to get the most effect out of him might be to play the best cards from each house.
Sure,
it's just a theory.
Yeah.
And Tom Riddle here could be played as a color fixing character that also, when because he's Slytherin, he'll get you an effect off of Dip It as well.
Yeah. All right, next card, Wandering Nocturne. This was one of our previews as well. Play this card only if you have at least 5 lessons in play. Effect: after your opponent uses an action to play a creature or item, they discard that card from play. To solve, your opponent discards 2 cards this way. As a reward, your opponent may put up to 2 lessons from their discard pile into their hand. So essentially, once they play this adventure card, they have 2 turns where items and or creatures played by their opponent just automatically get discarded, and then it goes away.
Yeah, it's a really good card if you're ahead. If you're ahead, you play this card and you kind of bury your opponent.
I don't think it's enough to get you back into a game, but it's certainly, if you are ahead, it kind of secures a victory.
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely
it's a win more card.
Yeah, it's a card that will, when you're in a race, it's a card where as long as you're ahead, it'll keep you ahead. It seems like a very good card and great art too.
Yeah, I agree.
Next.
All right, next. Aragog's Lair, another unique location. It's a care of magical creatures location. Makes sense. Each spider has 2 more health, even your opponents. Makes sense.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, there's
spiders is definitely going to be a thing.
Spider deck. You're going to have a whole Aragog deck.
Yeah.
And you're going to have to play against it because I'm still making that deck.
Aranya Eczema. 5-cost charm spell. Do 2 damage to a creature of your choice, then 3 damage to all spider creatures, even your own.
That's terrible. That kills all the spiders.
Well, probably, yeah.
Unless you have Aragog's Lair, maybe it won't.
Possibly.
But
yeah. That might be a thing. We'll have to see once we actually get to a spider.
I don't know how many
we'll have to see
how much health all the spiders have.
Yeah, I don't know. Okay,
Basilisk
Fang. This is another card that we had previewed. It's an item, costs 6. It's a potions card. When you play this card, do 2 damage to your opponent or to a creature of your choice. You may use an action to discard this card from play. If you do, choose an opponent's item in play and discard it.
This card is an A+ for me. It is on point with theme, and it is very flexible. It deals damage to creatures and kills an item.
Yeah,
So,
I love that it kills items because obviously they use it to kill a few of the Horcruxes.
to me, this is just a great little catch-all card that you would probably run if you're playing potions. You're gonna run 2 of these in your deck,
Probably.
just because it answers multiple things.
Yeah.
It could be a sideboard card as well, but I actually would expect more people just to straight up play this in their main deck. Seems good.
Bowtruckle. So this guy is featured in the Fantastic Beasts movie.
Yeah, it's the little guy in his pocket.
When another one of your plants takes damage, this card does 1 damage to an opponent of your choice.
Oh, okay.
1 health. Cute. So maybe we do a Spider Anthem against Bowtruckle Anthem. Or Plant Anthem.
Yeah, I don't know.
See how that goes.
Next card.
Okay, Break with a Banshee. It provides a Quidditch resource. It costs 3. It's an item that's a book. During your turn, you may discard a card from play. Discard this card from play. If you do, choose a non-healing match with a printed power cost of 1 in your discard pile. Play it as if it were in your hand.
Oh,
Okay.
Cool. Yeah, this card just gets to puts a match
Puts a match into your hand.
Yeah.
Oh no, play it as if it were in your hand. Yeah. So you just from your discard pile you play it.
Very cool. I like it.
Circling the goalposts. A Quidditch spell for 5. Do 3 damage to an opponent, then draw a card. At the end of each of your turns, if this card is in your discard pile and a spell did at least 5 damage to an opponent, you may discard a card from your hand to put this card into your hand.
Oh, cool. That's very cool.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah. Well, because it has an ongoing effect.
Yeah.
Of if you're ever doing 5 damage, which a lot of the Quidditch cards do that amount of damage.
It's a very cool card for Quidditch. It's something that they probably really need. I think that's a very good card. I could see that as a mainstay in quite a few Quidditch decks.
Yeah, I think that's very cool.
What's a gnomish pixie? Interesting.
Cornish Pixie.
Oh, Cornish pixie.
Cornish Pixie. It is a pixie. They're mischievous little a-holes.
5 for a 1 health, 1 damage. What is that ability?
Yeah. When you play this card, look at an opponent's hand. You may choose a card and place it under this card. When this card leaves play, return it to its owner's hand.
Oh yeah, buddy.
That makes perfect sense for a pixie.
So this is like
Just annoying little jerks that distract you.
it's awesome because you get to look at your opponent's hand, so you get all the information. Then you get to take whatever card you want, you put it underneath this card, and they have to kill it just to get it back.
Yeah.
And if they don't kill it, you're just negging them for 1 damage every turn.
Yep.
It's expensive, so I understand the cost, but man, that's a powerful ability.
Yeah, it's cool though. I like it, and the hour rate is great.
There's a 2-cost magic card that does the exact same thing called Mesmeric Fiend, and it's a very good card.
The Death Day Party with all of the ghosts. It's an adventure. The effect, whenever a card is discarded from play, your opponent says, "Rest in peace." If your opponent forgets, they take 3 damage at the end of the turn. To solve, your opponent chooses 3 lessons in their hand and discards them. They reward. Your opponent looks at your hand. They may choose one of those cards and discard it. That's hilarious.
Yeah, it seems fun.
Yeah, so that is definitely deep in the Harry Potter books. This isn't something that they ever feature in the movies, but the ghosts within Hogwarts always throw a Death Day party where they all celebrate the way in which that they died.
Cool.
And there's ghosts that come from all over the place. It's not just the 4 house ghosts, but that 4 house ghosts host the Death Day party.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So we have Katra just stepped into the stream. He, like us, had to deal with the storm, it looks like.
Yeah.
So he was out power. Welcome. We are just kind of sitting around chatting about Harry Potter spoilers from Heir of Slytherin. The whole set's been released. TCG Revival is like our Star Wars TCG group where they custom make their own cards. But this is their first set.
Yeah, so we're digging into each of their 75 cards from their new release. We're here, Draco's Superiority, another Quidditch card that's a spell. Search your deck. You may take a broom from your deck, reveal it, and put it into your hand. Then shuffle your deck. If that card's printed power cost is 5 or more, do 5 damage to an opponent. Okay.
So if you search for a 5-cost broom, you're going to hit them for 5 and get a broom.
Correct. Which I'm going to guess the Nimbus 2001 is going to be in here, and it's going to cost 5.
There's already a 2000 and 2001. There's a couple 2000 Nimbuses. I don't know if there's a 2001. I think there is.
Okay.
But I'm pretty sure
that would be what Draco would do
that was his...
That was his broom. That was the broom that Daddy bought the entire Quidditch team in order for him to get on there. I guess he can.
The Nimbus.
Let's see. Nimbus.
So I know there's a couple.
Yep, 2001.
Yeah, so that one costs 9.
Yep.
And then there's the Nimbus 2000, which costs 7.
Mm-hmm. So either one would work.
Yep.
But that makes sense.
Themey Quidditch deck.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
All right, next. Essential Knowledge Test. This is a transfiguration item, thank you. Whenever you would draw a card, except during your draw step, you may choose not to.
Interesting. Okay.
Okay.
So
I'm not sure why you'd want to skip an action.
It's not skipping an action. It's saying whenever you would draw a card, except during your draw step, you may choose not to. So there are cards like Venomous Tentacular Juice, which forces an opponent to draw twice as many cards as in their hand. So pull up Venomous Tentacular Juice in the Accio.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. Okay. Oh, wrong thing.
It's a super popular card, combo card. I've played it against you.
Apparently I can spell the made-up tentacular better than I can spell venomous.
Wow.
Okay.
So count the number of cards in your opponent's hand. He or she draws twice that many cards.
Right.
So if you have 10 cards in your hand, this card is making you draw 20, which can kill you.
Got it.
So if you have that card, they just can't tentacular you, because you could be like, nope, not drawing all those cards.
That makes sense. Okay, because I was thinking like if you were drawing a card as an action, it's like why would you do that?
So if you're now playing the tentacular combo deck, there's now an answer to it. This could come in from the sideboard.
All right.
Which would then force them to bring in like the Basilisk collar to kill this thing, the Basilisk Fang to kill this thing before they can combo off with your...
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yep.
Okay, cool. I like it. I like having answers to very popular combos.
Yep,
I think that's
a good
great.
Card.
Gadding with Ghouls. Item, book, Transfiguration. It also provides a Transfiguration resource. During your turn, you may discard this card from play. If you do, choose a non-healing item with printed power cost of 2 or less in your discard pile. Play it as if it were in your hand.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's awesome. Great card.
I think so too.
And it also provides a lesson. I like seeing more items that come out and do things other than the base books. Like, all the base books are pretty much draw you cards.
Yeah.
These are just
it's
other
all
effects.
just like discard draw cards, yeah.
And I think the more the game grows and gets other effects in the game, different types, the more you can start building more interesting decks.
I agree. I think it's fun. Hogwarts Pipes. Ooh, that's a cool one. I love this artwork. That looks fantastic. Location. When any player takes damage, they discard cards from the bottom of their deck instead of the top. Okay. So I guess if you have a way of setting up your deck the top of your deck consistently, you would probably want to play that so you're pulling things from the bottom.
Yeah, like the Quidditch deck where you're trying to stack your deck with lessons so that you can solve your matches. That would prevent your opponent from damaging you and messing with the top of your deck.
Yeah.
So, it could be that maybe you splash for that card.
Yeah,
I don't really know.
I don't know, but I think it's an interesting concept.
Yeah. Yeah, I would imagine it could be a sideboard card for combo decks.
Yeah.
But I would not imagine it's probably played as a main card in any deck.
I agree. Okay, next. Holidays with Hags. Another book that provides a potions resource. It costs 3. You may use an action to discard this card from play. If you do, put up to 2 lessons of the same type from your discard pile into play.
Cool.
Yeah, I like it.
I like it.
I think that's cool. Help you ramp a little bit if you need to.
Yeah, just a good card. I could see that in any deck.
Oh, so this is Parcel Tongue, this name.
Oh,
that's
so
why.
They made a Slytherin card in Parcel Tongue. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so I'm not going to try to say that because I don't speak Parcel Tongue, but something like... That was probably pretty good, actually. I was actually pretty good. I'm proud of myself. Didn't even practice. Okay, so this is a potion spell that costs 5. To play this card, discard one of your potions lessons from play. Search your deck. You may take a location that needs potions power with printed power cost of 5 or less from your deck and put it into play. Then shuffle your deck.
Sweet. So
you could go search for the Chamber of Secrets.
Yeah, so to play this card, you discard one of your potion lessons, you search your deck, take a location.
You can search for the Chamber of Secrets.
Yep. That needs power with printed cost of 5 or less from your deck and put it into play.
Super
That's awesome.
Cool. Love it.
Yep.
Love that
Well
it searches for the Chamber of Secrets and it's a card that's written in Parcel Tongue.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
I haven't watched the movie.
Flavor of awesomeness.
I haven't watched the movie in a while, but I wonder if that's what he says to open the Chamber of Secrets. Because we don't know because he just...
It might be, although I don't know. It wouldn't be necessarily this scene that they've requisitioned for.
I'm not saying it might not be that scene, but that name.
Right, but my point is whatever he says in Parcel Tongue in this scene is different than what he would say opening the Chamber of Secrets, but I'm probably reading into this way too much.
All right, so next one.
Keep going. Lockhart's Office. This is another location. Once during each player's turn, the player may discard any number of cards from their hand. Okay, so this just goes with Gilderoy. Because Gilderoy says when you are discarding cards, you force your opponent to discard cards.
Yep, it's just a card for
Gilderoy,
his type of deck.
which makes sense since it's his office.
Yeah, seems fine.
Magical Me. So this is Gilderoy's book, one of them.
Hilarious.
So it provides a charms resource. During your turn, you may discard this card from play. If you do, choose a non-healing spell with printed power cost of 2 or less in your discard pile. Play it as if it were in your hand.
All right, so we can play cards from his discard pile because he's discarding. That seems good.
Yeah, I think that's fine.
So it looks like we've got a
little discard combo there.
Transfiguration and Charms deck for Gilderoy Lockhart.
Although it gets shut down hard by the Chamber of Secrets, which makes perfect sense.
Yep.
I like that interaction there. Okay, the Mandrake Drought. This is another one of the cards that we covered in our spoiler. It is a healing spell that's a potions card. Choose one of your characters in play that has a once per turn ability that you've already used this turn. Use that ability again without using any actions. So basically you can trigger one of by playing this card, you're getting basically a free action to copy a character's ability that has a once per turn ability.
Once per turn?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, cool. So someone
fun.
in chat just said that they think actually all the books from this set are Gilderoy's books.
Let's see. Gadding with Ghouls definitely is. Break with the Banshee. That actually might be as well.
Yeah, I think they might be right.
They might be.
It's cool.
Which is a fun little...
It's a fun little thing.
Little thing, for sure. I don't think there's any other books that we fit yet. Yeah, so that might be true, Vaughn. That's a good call.
Yeah, all 4 are his so far.
I like that. Okay.
That was a nice find.
For sure. Okay, Gryffindor Plaque, an item that is for Quidditch. Whenever you play a Seeker, Beater, Keeper, or Chaser character, you use you use up 1 action to play it instead of 2. Oh, so when you play characters, it only requires 1 action.
Card.
Oh, okay.
This just opened up Quidditch for me in a huge way.
During your turn, you may discard this card from play. If you do, put a non-healing Seeker, Beater, Keeper, or Chaser from your discard pile into your hand.
Oh man,
That's
this card's
awesome.
cool. I love it.
Yeah, because it's going to allow you to actually play a Quidditch team of characters.
Right, and I've never put a character in my Quidditch decks because the 2-action penalty just seemed way too high.
Yeah, but 1?
But now 1?
That's fantastic.
Now I would totally...
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
That's great.
And you can sacrifice it to get a guy back
if you really needed to. I think that is a fantastic
Great card.
Well done.
That has got me excited to try an all new type of Quidditch deck.
All right, Scourge. Choose 2 of your non-healing cards in play of different types other than your starting character. Discard 1 of them and return the other to your hand.
Okay. Seems good.
Yeah. Seems fine. It's kind of allows you to selectively bounce a card back to your hand that you want to protect, basically.
It also works with the Gilderoy Lockhart ability.
Correct.
When you discard it. So,
yeah,
again,
probably.
it goes into that deck.
Yeah, that makes sense. Spell-a-tape.
Spell-a-tape.
Fantastic. If you would discard another item from play due to an opponent's card, discard this card instead. Seems thematic. I like it. Yep. Cost 4. It's a charms card.
It's cool.
Yeah, I like it. Vera Verato. Choose a creature in play. It becomes an item that has no abilities. Damage each turn, health, or keywords, except unique while it's in play. So this is the Transfiguration spell to turn an animal into an inanimate object.
It's perfect. Well done.
Exactly.
It seems useful.
I think it's super cool, and I like that they've got all of these. Oh, I guess those are students. Probably they kind of look like the backs of owls. I don't know if they're students or I mean they should be students, but they kind of look like the backs of owls, which would be kind of funny. Okay, next one, Voyages with Vampires. Yeah, I mean that's definitely another Gilderoy book. Good call, Vaughn. A 3-cost Care of Magical Creatures item that also provides a resource of that lesson of that same type. During your turn, you may discard this card from play. If you do, choose a creature with printed power cost 2 or less in your discard pile. Play it as if it were in your hand.
Wow, cool.
Yeah,
that's going to be a very good
and
card.
a lot of these books, you've also noted, like there's a lot of dig things from the graveyard of a certain power cost or less and play them. So I think that's where some of those newer Slytherin cards of particularly the Chamber of Secrets is going to lock down a lot of these new triggers, which I like that they've built answers within and new types of mechanics to interact more with your discard pile.
Yeah, clearly whoever's designing this has played a lot of Harry Potter and some Magic because they're smart. From what I see, like you can't fill up a set with a bunch of cards that allow you to play in your discard pile without having answers to it. I.e., Magic screwing up back in the day with Emrakul, the Promised End. They made a card that literally was called the Promised End, and it was based around like a discard your discard pile. But they literally made 0 cards that interacted with your opponent's discard card, so the card was super busted.
Yeah, makes sense. Okay, Whispers from the Pipes. Ooh, like it. An adventure effect. Before each of your opponent's turns, they reveal the top card of their deck. You may take 1 damage to put that card on the bottom of their deck. To solve, your opponent puts their hand on the bottom of their deck in any order. Opponent's reward, your opponent names a card type, reveal your hand, and discard all cards of the chosen type.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Very cool. I think it's good. I don't know what kind of deck I've played in yet, but it seems good.
Yeah, it seems fun.
Again,
I like that art.
Is on
That's
fire.
Beautiful.
It is a beautiful. There's no characters or anything, so people probably are not paying attention to how cool that art is. But
it's great.
It looks really good.
Love
I love it. Who is that artist?
Alex Vanderland.
I don't know.
I apologize if I'm
Well done.
pronouncing
It's a
that wrong,
beautiful
Alex,
piece.
but it's gorgeous.
Beautiful piece.
Well, this one looks cool too.
Winter match. Oh, I needed to see more matches.
Okay, so here's a match card for 1, which fits with the other Quidditch cards that put matches for 1 into play.
Yep.
To win, draw cards 7 times while this card is in play. Drawing multiple cards at a time counts as once.
Oh, boo. Just when I thought I had the opportunity to play that Quidditch card that draws you 3 cards.
Nope. Negated. As a prize, the winner may put a card from their discard pile into their hand. Okay.
Winter doesn't sound like fun.
Well, I mean, winter isn't very fun when you're playing for Quidditch.
The winner can put a card from their discard pile into their hand? All right.
I'm sure there's also going to be cards in Quidditch that trigger off of a match just being in play. So even if it's not a great one, that has an awesome effect for you potentially as the person playing it.
It does work
it's
with
still a match that's in play.
It actually works with Harry the Seeker. Because Harry the Seeker's ability is whenever you play a lesson, draw a card. Mm-hmm. So with this match in play, you're not paying actions to draw cards.
True.
You're just you're playing your lessons like you would normally do anyway to draw your cards, but now you're getting a bonus for drawing the cards that build up over time.
Yeah, I agree. Yep, that would make sense. Okay, next. Our first spider. Baby Acromantula. When you play this card, you may search your deck. You may take a Baby Acromantula from your deck, reveal it, put it in your hand, shuffle your deck. Deals the damage each turn and it has a health of 1. So
when you play him, you search for another copy of him.
Correct.
Woohoo!
Yeah,
Spider Anthem is a thing. For spiders.
Yep. It costs 3. Obviously, it's a care of magical creatures because it is a creature. And so with the bump from Aragog, I think that would make them 3 health.
Which would still kill.
Which still kills, that other card that hits all spiders for 3 would still hit the baby Acromantulas. There might be other spiders in play that it doesn't hit outside of Aragog, because obviously there's lots of different sizes of spiders, because this is just specifically a baby one. So there might just be, an adolescent one. Cauldron Calamity. I like that artwork. I feel ya. It's like me cooking sauce.
Yeah, you cooking anything almost.
It is a potions for 3. It's a spell. To play this card, discard any of your potions lessons from play. For each potions lesson discarded, do 2 damage to an opponent or to a creature of your choice. You may choose the same target multiple times.
To play this card, discard a number of lessons. For each lesson discarded, do 2 damage to an opponent. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
This is a good card.
I love it.
This is a low cost damage spell. It has the flexibility to be a creature or an opponent.
Yep.
And it costs you a lesson, but it seems like that's kind of like the thing with potions. So there's definitely ways to get lessons back. Mm-hmm. But I think it's a good card.
And it just costs 3. And I love the flexibility of creatures or opponents, because a lot of damage generating cards from the original Wizards of the Coast, a lot of them are opponent or creature. So
unless you play charms and then you get all the
then you just get all the things. But I like that they're trying to push that into some of the other color pies. I think that's fantastic.
Yeah, I think every color should probably have a way to at least. They don't maybe need to directly kill creatures, but they have to have an answer to creatures.
Yeah. Okay, Colin's Camera, Colin Creevy. So this is a 5-cost transfiguration item. Before each of your turns, draw a card, then all of your opponents draw a card. Okay.
Howling Mine.
Yeah. Literally.
Okay. Howling Mine's a magic card. It does the same thing.
Yeah.
I'm speaking to the audience if they don't know.
That is a fair point.
Listening.
100% that is 100% that is a fair point. Okay. Dodging the Bludger. 4-cost Quidditch spell. Do 2 damage to an opponent, then draw a card. You may put a Quidditch lesson from your hand into play.
Oh my gosh,
that is awesome.
I love this card. So this card is dealing 2 damage to my opponent.
And drawing a card.
Then I draw a card.
And you can put a lesson into play for free.
That is going to be in my Harry the Seeker deck without
sure.
Along with the winter match, because I
can trigger it. I can trigger
the winter. Well, I'm going to trigger 2 times. So I'll trigger off the off this card.
Correct.
Then I trigger off Harry's secret ability to draw a card.
Because there's separate instances of draw a card, not draw multiple cards at once.
That card is a 4 of.
Yeah, that's a great card.
Can't wait to try that one.
All right.
Dueling practice.
Dueling practice. So this is a charms spell. Do 1 damage to an opponent at the end of your turn. Draw 2 cards.
Sweet.
Yeah, I mean, done. Great. Fantastic.
It's not super powerful though. I mean, it's only dealing 1 damage. You're basically
to an opponent too, so it's just milling you a card.
Yeah,
it's not dealing it to a creature. But netting 2 cards out of the 1 is.
It's 1 action and draw 2.
Yeah, I think that's great.
It's fine.
Yeah, it's totally fine.
That card is going to be good in that card could be good in a combo deck. It could be good in a control deck where you're just trying to get card advantage.
Yeah.
And you're not spending actions. It's hard for me to judge card advantage in this game because there are cards, like I said, in the Quidditch deck where you just play a card for 1 action to draw 3 cards, and most people deem that as not playable. So I don't know how good this is.
That's true, and obviously your deck is your health, so there is an element of that.
Yeah,
but
when
if you're
you draw
playing,
cards in this game, you're taking damage.
Yeah, if you need to dig for a particular card or a particular combination of cards, you kind of need ways to net cards early.
I really just
to
don't
get
know.
your answers, but
we'll see. Eat slugs though.
Eat slugs. Do 2 damage to yourself, then draw a card. That seems about right.
Yeah. I don't know what else to say about it. It's
backfired spell. Makes sense.
I don't know how often you would play this card unless there was a reason that you would want to deal damage to yourself.
Yeah.
So,
but I think it's thematic and hilarious.
Yep.
Okay, enemies of the air beware. This is a 9-cost potions spell. Choose an opponent and a card type. They reveal their hand, discard all cards of the chosen type, and take damage equal to the number of cards discarded this way.
Oh, nasty.
Yeah.
9 cost. Okay.
Yeah. So if you know that there's a particular card type, like spells or items that are the essential component of your opponent's deck.
Yeah, it's a mediocre card. It's a sideboard card at best.
I agree.
It's fun. It's also very expensive.
Yeah.
But it looks cool. It's a cool card. I mean, here's the thing, and I'm going to say this, and some people are going to probably disagree with me, but when I will say that the tried and true problem with all fan sets that community groups make up, I'm in the Star Wars TCG one, there's a Star Wars CCG one, there's a million of these fan groups that will keep dead games alive and they'll make their own sets. One of the traps that all of them fall into is that whenever they're designing cards for a set, they want every card to be as good as they can be because they don't want to design cards that are bad in any way or not as thematic and as useful as possible. The only problem with that is when you design every card to be perfect and do a really good job on it, you end up with a power creep issue because, as you saw, Wizards of the Coast made a lot of bad cards. Every game maker, they will make filler cards to fill out sets. So it's on
purpose.
It's on purpose. It's also, it makes their playtesting easier because there's a batch of cards they don't even really have to do much testing on. My point is, I see that seems like they're making cards and being conscious to not make every card amazing.
Yeah, which like you said, that to me,
that shows that there's some clever thought behind these cards.
Agreed.
And I think it's really well done. And this is a perfect example of a card. Like, this card has a narrow effectiveness. It has a high cost. It could probably be good in certain situations, but it's just not universally good every time you play it for nine. And that's a lot of these cards. Eat slugs. Like, you would ask yourself, why would you ever play that card?
Yeah.
Maybe there's a reason to play a card, but maybe it's just a cool card that has a great theme, but it's not the most useful card.
Yeah.
Which is fine.
Agreed. Next card, Expelliarmus. So this is a Snape and Gilderoy dueling in front of all of the kids. It is a charms spell, of course, makes perfect sense. It costs 3. Choose one of your opponent's items in play and discard it. If that item is a wand, during their next turn, they can't use actions to play spells.
Love it.
Mic drop. That is a fantastically flavorful card.
That's
that
awesome.
is awesome.
Yeah.
Kudos.
Yeah, I don't know how good it is. I don't know how relevant it is, but
Well, I mean,
cool.
think about how many items are in play that are allowing people to go back and get an effect.
Well, I just don't know how many wand items are in play in spell decks.
True. Yeah, that is true. But just being able to hit an item is fantastic.
Yeah, for sure. It just, they won't get the lockout unless it's a wand.
For sure.
Which is still cool. Like,
again, I think it's perfect.
I think it's a very well designed card. I like it.
Awesome. Kudos. Fantastic card. I love it. Okay, moving down the line here. Oh, another spider. See, I told you there was, hell 3. Okay, so this is a forest spider.
So that one would have 5 with the other, with the location.
Correct. So it costs 8. It is obviously a Care of Magical Creatures card because it's a creature, another spider. While this card is in your hand, it requires 1 less power to play for each of your spiders in play.
Oh, I love it.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Spider Swarm.
Build around me, Spider Swarm.
Geez.
I cannot wait. I'm going to have 4 of these to play against you.
Jeez. Oh, I can already hear that. Ugh, I hate it. 3 damage every turn and 3 health.
I love
40.
it. I like the cost. It's 8. I like that you get a reduction for playing other spiders. Everything. I like everything about the card. I like the art.
Yeah, it's creeping me out.
You know what's going to be fun is draft.
Yeah.
Can you imagine being the only person at the table doing the spider draft?
Oh gosh. Except other people would obviously be on that strategy because it's so obviously good.
Well, you don't know how obviously good. You have to get a lot of spiders.
Oh, that's fair.
For that to really pay off.
That's a fair statement.
But I'm saying in drafts in other games, when they have these kind of strategies, it's kind of one of those things where they're not universally great. Mm-hmm. You have to be the one person that's in on that strategy.
Yeah.
If too many people are in it, you're kind of screwed.
Everybody's kind of in
Everyone's
trouble.
got watered down decks.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, Mimblewimble. This is a 4-cost charms spell. Do 4 damage to an opponent. During their next turn, they can't use their first action to play spells.
Cool.
Fantastic.
Good card.
I like it. Basic, enjoyable.
Good against charm decks or spell decks.
Mm-hmm. This art is fantastic.
I don't know anything.
Misbrewed Polyjuice. So in Chamber of Secrets, they did actually feature this in the movie.
Into the cat.
She turns into the cat because she grabs cat hair off of her person's cloak instead of their actual hair.
Count the number of characters an opponent has in play and in their discard pile. Do that much damage to that opponent. Then choose one of their characters in play until their next turn. That character loses all their abilities.
Makes sense.
Cool card. I like it.
Potion spell costs 5. That artwork is fantastic.
I love the Mortal Enemies card next.
Yeah.
I really like that artwork is awesome. It's got Fox picking out the eye of the Basilisk. That's cool.
Yeah, that looks great. So it's a 2-cost Care of Magical Creature spell. Choose one of your creatures in play and one of an opponent's creatures in play. They do damage to each other. So it's a fight.
It's a fight card.
Yeah.
That's literally what
But normally creatures can't do that. So it's a way of knocking enemies out potentially.
Right. Well, if you have a bigger creature like your creature. Yeah.
Exactly.
It's a magic fight card.
I think that's awesome.
Literally
fight, yes.
And literally a magic fight card.
Yes.
Pun intended. All right.
Pun intended.
Next
All right. New Slytherin Seeker. So this is a 6-cost Quidditch spell.
This is cool. I think I'm going to be able to make a Slytherin Quidditch deck.
Yeah, you're going to have...
This is all up my alley.
Yeah. Do 5 damage to an opponent. If there is a match in play, you may have that opponent choose one of their creatures in play and discard it.
Oh, why do they get to choose?
Yeah.
I hate that design.
I know.
It's not the Revival group's fault.
But that is that WotC
I
thing
hate
too.
that all of the Quidditch. Why would your opponent get to choose every time? That drives me crazy. All right. Well,
but
I don't know.
You are dealing 5 damage, so that'll trigger some of the other Quidditch cards that we've seen that resolve around dealing 5 damage to an opponent.
I'll try to use it, but I don't know if it'll work.
Yeah, we'll see. But I do like it.
Old
sock.
Oh, old sock. Gotcha.
Yeah. So this is a 1-cost charms item. When you play this card, draw a card.
Oh, okay.
Sure, it's fun. It's cute. It's obviously a key moment in the Chamber of Secrets story. So
you also got to remember too, again, these are the type of cards that I would play that in a draft.
100%. That's a fantastic card for a non-constructed event.
Yeah.
It's
Just a cycle.
It's okay for any other
I don't know how good those
deck.
cycles are, and I don't know if having items, there might be reasons, like there might be deck builds where you need to have items in play, and that just serves as a cheap item, and then it cycles, it draws a card.
It's true.
I don't know how good it is, but it's cool.
Yeah. Parcel Tongue. So this is a Care of Magical Creature spell for 3. Choose an opponent's creature in play and return it to their hand. If you have a snake in play, discard your opponent's creature instead.
Oh, that's awesome. I like that card.
Yeah, I think that's fun. I like that. It's Parcel Tongue, and it's saying if you have a snake, then you get to discard their creatures as opposed to bouncing them back to their hands. I think that's fun. Okay. Pescapixie? No, Pescapixie? Pestermoni. Okay, yeah. Can't pronounce it, evidently. That is a 1-cost.
Pescapixie. Oh, man.
See, it's hard.
All right.
It is a 1-cost transfiguration spell to discard all wands in play.
This card should say, if you can pronounce the name of the card, you win the match. Discard all wands.
So there must be wand items that we haven't really seen.
Well, there's
Lucius's.
Well, there's also wands in previous sets. There's Broken Wand in other sets. There's quite a few wand cards already.
Cool. All right. Petrifying Stare, a 6-cost Care of Magical Creature spell. Choose an opponent's character other than their starting character or non-rooster creature in play. Shuffle that card into their deck.
Cool.
Love it. So that's a second iteration of referencing a rooster with the Basilisk type cards.
Yeah, in short, the Basilisk's mortal enemy is a rooster. So, which somebody brought it up to us.
So Vaughn says it's a made-up spell from Gilderoy, so it's literally Pesky Pixie Pesternomi. Okay. Let's see. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Pesky Pixie.
Pesky Pixie.
Pesternomi.
Pesky Pixie Pesternomi. Oh, okay.
Vaughn,
you are just so deep in this Harry Potter lore. You're kind of my favorite. But yeah, so essentially, as I think Gold Eater was alluding to, Basilisk, the only creatures that the only sound that they fear is the crow of a rooster.
Yeah.
Vaughn, you say you have a problem. I say you have a passion.
It's okay, Vaughn. We all have our thing.
We all have a thing.
I have a ridiculous... I have a problem with Star Wars lore, so...
Yep, that's fine.
I get made fun of all the time. It's okay.
Okay, so next card, Pre-Match Handshake. This is a 1-cost Quidditch spell. Each player searches their deck. They may take a lesson from their deck, reveal it, put it into their hand. Each player shuffles their deck. Then you may put a Quidditch lesson from your hand into play.
Cool. I like it.
I think that's super fun.
Also cool with Harry the Seeker, because you're paying an action to search your deck for a lesson, put it in play, and draw a card.
Yep.
Which makes that card better.
Agreed. A quaffle.
What's a quaffle?
It is that ball right here. This is one of the balls in Quidditch. It's quaffle. This is the ball that they use to score.
Okay.
There's only one in the game, I think.
Sure.
Or maybe there's more, but...
You can play this card, search your deck. You may take a match from your deck, reveal it, and put it into your hand, then shuffle your deck. Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's a 3-cost item that provides a Quidditch resource.
And searches for a...
Searches for a match. Yeah, I think that's fine.
Yeah, I don't know if it'll be seed play, but...
I like that they're adding all of these other elements, though, from the different Quidditch segments.
Too.
Quidditch Confidence. So 4-cost Quidditch spell. Play this card only if there is a match in play. Trade total progress toward winning a match with an opponent. Then do 4 damage to that opponent.
Oh, hilarious.
Yeah, there you go. There's a reason to just have matches in play.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Okay.
Oh, see, here's our rooster. They did get a rooster. I kind of figured it was going to come into play. So it's a 3-cost Care of Magical Creatures. Ability, Slytherin's Basilisk cannot be played.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Hilarious.
Just deals 1 damage and has 3 health.
Sideboard card.
For sure.
That's if the Basilisk is worthy of sideboard card, but it is an answer to
I mean,
I don't know how good it is.
Pretty rough, yeah, potentially. if that's a card that just shuts down your whole strategy because it ruins all of your permanents, then it might be relevant. Sink Passageway. A 3-cost transfiguration spell. Put a non-healing location from your discard pile into your hand.
Cool. Like it.
Love it. Think it's fun. Skelligro. A 3-cost potions spell. It is also a healing card. To play this card, discard one of your potions lessons from play. Choose 3 different non-healing cards in your discard pile. Your opponent chooses one of those cards. Put that card into your hand and the rest in the bottom of your deck in any order.
It's okay. As you can tell, I'm just not a fan I'm not a fan of almost any card where your opponent gets to make the choice because they're never choosing in your best interest.
Yeah.
But it's fine.
But I mean, healing cards, more often than not, you just really want them to heal you, i.e. add cards back into your deck.
Yep.
So at the end of the day, for 3 costs, I think that's fine.
That's fine.
I do like that all of these different potions cards are requiring you to discard a potions lesson, i.e. you're having to effectively discard a potion to use a potion.
That is the whole potions crux.
Yeah, I think it's fun. I like it.
All right, slower brooms.
Slower brooms. Okay, it is a 1-cost broom item for Quidditch. All cards with a power cost, yours and your opponent's, need 1 more power to play. If you play this card and you already have a broom in play, discard the old one.
Yeah, it's all the brooms. All the brooms will only allow you to have 1 in play.
Yep.
Cool.
Yeah, I think
it's an interesting card. Quidditch has cards like Quidditch Pitch that reduces the cost of all of your Quidditch power things. So the only problem is you're never really getting more than 1. But increasing everything by 1, I don't know how
I think it's more
relevant this is.
It might just be more keeping a Quidditch player ahead.
I don't know. It's an interesting card. It would be better if you could have more ways to do something, but yeah. I think it's fine.
Okay, last few. Substitute Cat. A 2-cost transfiguration spell. Search your deck. You may take an item or creature with printed power cost less than or equal to the number of lessons you have in play. Reveal it, put it in your hand, shuffle your deck.
Cool. So you just search for a creature.
Search for a creature.
Seems good.
Swish and Flick.
Swish and Flick. I love it.
2-cost transfiguration spell. Put a lesson from your discard pile into play. Makes sense.
Great card.
I like it. Perfectly flavorful.
I like that there definitely seems to be an emphasis on cards that put lessons into play as a kind of a counterbalance to recover from when your opponents are playing land destruction or lesson destruction. You know what I mean?
And finally, a Wizard Duel, a 5-cost charms spell. Each player discards the top card of their deck. Do 8 damage to each player who discard a card with the lowest printed cost. Cards with no printed cost of power cost 0.
That card seems super fun.
Yeah. It sounds hilarious.
It's not. It's not a.
I mean, that could backfire.
So that's very much like the clash mechanic in Magic, where you reveal the top card, and then whoever reveals a certain card, you hurt them or they hurt you.
Yeah.
That's exactly. But that's cool. It's thematic. It's fun. Again, I would play that card in a draft just for
sure, just for S&G.
But I also really like the all the password cards. That password stack is hilarious.
I know you do.
So, all right, that's all the cards.
That's all the cards. I really like it.
I think a little over an hour to cover all the cards.
Yeah, hour 20. Yeah. I think these guys at the Revival group have done a really great job of not only creating thematic cards, but also cards that seem balanced amongst themselves, which is hard to do, that seem balanced amongst the original WotC cards, even harder to do, and that don't power creep the game, which is the hardest to do.
I mean, every game has power creep. There's always going to be some bit, but these definitely seem to fall in line. Even WotC cards power creep themselves. I mean,
100%. Over time, that happens.
There's no way to.
Without a rotation, you have to power creep because other's nobody's going to play the new stuff.
Yeah. There's always going to. It's just trying to limit it, trying to give out more options.
Correct.
But so far as a whole set, I have not played a single game
other
than the one we saw on stream with Heir of Slytherin.
But all we played with was Tom Riddle.
In
that
a
was
vacuum,
the only card.
and just looking at cards and past experience for playing other card games like Magic, Star Wars, and Harry Potter and things, I think they've done a fantastic job.
I agree.
Kudos to every single person who worked on the set. Thank you so much, all the people who donated their artwork or let them use artwork, because honestly, there's not a card here where I think there's bad art.
No, I think it's all great.
I love that some of the art are like different styles. Like this card by Illustrator says
Hogwarts Honor.
Hogwarts Honor. Like
there are some
they've
just
done
like
quite a
names,
few, and they're like almost like look like colored pencil art, which is really cool.
Yeah, and
Just
then there's digital stuff. There's a lot of different styles. I think
different mediums.
I think it looks awesome. I think they've done a great job of capturing some of these very iconic moments in the books and in the stories, and I think it's really, really fun.
Yep. So with Patronus and I, we're going to be signing out until next week, and we'll definitely have at least one Harry Potter matchup on YouTube. We might even stream it. We honestly might stream it even if no one watches, because they're going to be unplanned. But you'll definitely be up on YouTube. So it's important if you like and subscribe so you can see when that content's available. And next week, I think, what should we do? Should we...
I think we're going to start our Gauntlet series next week.
Right?
Yeah, I think that's a great way to start it off.
Yeah, we're going to start the classic Wizards of the Coast Gauntlet. Also, we really do like doing user deck submitted streams. I do this a lot with Star Wars TCG. If you have decks that you want to show off, that you're like, hey, play these two decks together, or play this deck against another deck, send us a list. We'll play it on stream and show off your deck. It's a fun thing we do. We do it a lot with thematic Star Wars TCG decks. Our buddy sent us these Geonosis Arena decks, which was super fun to play.
Yeah.
And I had no clue what I was doing. I sleeved up the cards, didn't know the deck. Patronus didn't know the deck. We knew what cards were in there, but we didn't know anything about the strategies.
Yeah.
We just played it out, and it was super fun. So if anyone does want to do that, you can reach out to us on YouTube, Facebook, whichever one of us will get to it, and we'll try it out on stream.
Yeah. So from Gold Leader and myself, we are signing off for now, and we'll talk to you next week.
Good night.